So I'm honored to be joined here by a guest I'm really excited to talk to. I don't just think Harry Webb's one of the best prospects in Australia. I actually think he's one of the best prospects in all of MMA right now. So thank you for joining me for this conversation.
Thanks for having me on, Benny. Good to meet you, bro.
Yeah, good to meet you too. So I wanted to start off with the first question, which isn't actually related to your upcoming fight. I'll get to that in a second. But I've seen a photo of you and Kelvin Gastelum a few months ago. Did you get to train with Kelvin Gastelum when you were over in Thailand?
I didn't get to train with him. I got to meet him, which was cool. He was a really nice dude, actually, and he gave everyone his time of day. So, yeah, he was just doing his thing over at Bangtao, I think getting ready for his last fight. I can't remember who it was against, but yeah, it was cool. Got to meet a few good fighters, and yeah, it was a good experience.
Did you get to train with any like UFC level guys or anything like that when you were over there?
Um, I think like UFC level guys, but no one actually in the UFC. Oh, I got to do a couple of rounds of like grappling with Brad Riddell, which was awesome. But yeah, in terms of actual UFC guys, not too many were there while I was there.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I wanted to ask about this because I seen this months ago, and I was like thinking if I ever interview Harry Webb, I got to ask him about Kelvin Gastelum. But
Yeah,
to get onto your fight with Abdallah Bayeda, what was your reaction when you got offered the fight? Obviously, people are going to see the experience difference between you two as professionals and say, "Wow, like it's a bit of a crazy jump." But we've seen in the Australian scene that records don't really matter too much when you have Cullen Sauerkind who went in and slept Blake Donnelly, and you had Jonathan Mikhailov on the last text card going and beat Joseph Luciano. So, what was your reaction to getting this fight?
yeah, like we obviously were excited to get a title shot, and that's what I wanted at the end of the day. And like in terms of experience, now they do such a good job of the amateurs and that. So it's not really like I'm inexperienced. Like this is my 11th MMA fight, all like seven of those being amateurs, but all of which have that professional feel, like fighting on demolition and that. So it's nothing really new to me. Like obviously he's got like three times the amount of experience as me as a pro, but so have my last like previous three opponents have had more experience than me. So it's nothing new, and I feel like I'm confident enough in my skills to fight against these best guys in the country at this stage. So
Yeah, exactly. And I'm pretty sure you actually have a more experience in martial arts because I've watched a lot of Abdallah's fights, and a lot of the things they mention a lot of his fights is he only started training MMA in his mid 20s or something like that. So you've probably got more just like overall martial arts experience. Would that be correct? Because I
yeah,
believe you
so
did.
like
Yeah, sorry.
yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like I've been training. I've been doing karate my whole life. So I'm even though I haven't had the competition experience as much as some guys, but I've always been active in the gym. I've been training, every single day for the last 7 years. So um, yeah, it'll just be a matter of getting more experience in the cage, and I have to take these tough fights, and it's just going to push me up the ranks quicker. So
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you even prepare for a 6'3" lightweight like Abdallah Bayeda? How's it been preparing for such a long, lengthy opponent?
yeah, we just had my coach holding pads up here like this. That's pretty much been the camp. So like obviously, yeah, there's not too many guys around that are 6'3" at 66 and 70 kilos. So you just got to work with what you got, and yeah, I've fought other tall guys before, so I think it's just a
Yeah.
unique challenge, but I'm ready to show that I'm capable of taking it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen the whole controversy with Abdallah's current featherweight reign and all this stuff? Because some people were saying that the belt's been vacated and he's now the undisputed, but now Khan Offley's like saying he's still champion and all this stuff. I've seen a bunch of that stuff
Yeah,
this one.
I did notice that when they posted the side by side statistics of me and Abdallah, that they wrote the featherweight champion. So I wasn't sure if that was a mistake, and then of course Mitchell Tinley picked it up and liked to bring it to light. So
Yeah,
he's always loving to stir the pot, which is good. It's always
yeah,
entertaining. So yeah, I'll let them that be their problem. Like I'm not focused on the featherweight title at the moment, so this is for the lightweight strap. So yeah,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Mitch is just preparing you for when you have to deal with Ariel Hawani stirring the pot in the future. So
Yeah, exactly. He's basically the Ariel Hawani of Australia, isn't he?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But just looking at your opponents, did this come quicker than you expected to get like an opponent, the level of Abdallah Beata? Obviously your first two pro opponents were debutants, obviously very skilled amateur opponents, and then Nam Stevens, who's very experienced. He's fought, Nam Stevens, I like to say, is like the BMF of the Australian
Yeah.
lightweight scene because he's fought Tom Nolan, Colin Sau, killed you. Like he's fighting all the UFC level guys. Like I feel like that's a guy who doesn't get enough respect, but Abdallah
Yeah,
Beata, like I
100%.
said, tough guy. Really,
Yeah,
I
100.
hate like I love this fight and hate this fight at the same time. By the way, because you're both really good prospects, so it is crazy to see you two fighting at this point, but still a great fight.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the original question again? I had an answer, but I forgot what I was going to say. The original part of that
Yeah,
question.
sorry, I just. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. So
Um.
my question was like,
Oh,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
So,
you,
yeah. So, well,
uh,
from my perspective, it was going to be, all the guys that they were talking about. It was like your Blake Donnellys, Josh Togos, um, Jack Lyons, like all these guys that are already up there in the ranks in Australia. So, um, I knew I was going to get someone with a lot of experience anyway. Um, when it was Abdallah, I was a little bit surprised because he was coming up from featherweight, but he's had plenty of fights at lightweight as well. So, um, yeah, my reaction was just excited, and we didn't hesitate in taking the fight. And he's had trouble getting matchups at 45 apparently, so it makes sense for him to come up and want to go champ status. But yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And let's just say you do get past this fight with Abdallah Beta. How many fights do you think you are away from making UFCs or one or whatever you're aiming for in the future? Where how many fights do you have like a plan for it if all goes well against Abdallah?
well, I feel like Abdallah, he's pound for pound number one, so I'll take out him, then I'm pound for pound number one, and that'll put me right up there. So, like we've seen in the past, Tom Nolan get signed off 5-0. So I'd say I would need at least one more, but anything can happen and it's all luck as well. So, I could have one more. I might need four more. You never know. So, I'll just take it as it comes. I'm not looking past March the 2nd. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to talk to like I'm fanboying out a little bit for this interview. If anyone sees my Twitter, I talk about you quite a lot. Like I really am hyping you up quite a lot. It's just your style is so fun to watch. Like it really is reminiscent of featherweight Conor McGregor. Like you use so much of the karate style and everything like that. Like your performance against Khan Husmek, just that was like literal like featherweight Conor McGregor esque. Like I don't know, maybe I'm just riding a little hard here, glazing a little bit, but I don't know. I really do just like your fight style quite a lot.
Maybe that was
But
just the fanboy in me for Connor when I was starting out. So it could be elements of his style in my game, but that's obviously the karate background for me
yeah,
as well. Yeah.
did you have like a fighter who like really pushed you towards MMA? Because you are a younger guy. Was it a Conor McGregor who like pushed you into like MMA, or was it just
Yeah.
you did karate?
Well, it was
Yeah,
actually I didn't watch fights. I didn't watch UFC or anything before I started training. I was 16 when I started, and that was right around like the 2015 Conor McGregor era. So yeah, he was a big influence in me starting training in general. So like I mentioned in the video that Hex did, I went home
yeah,
from school and one of my mates showed me Conor McGregor, and I went home and was watching his highlights, and I was like, "Fuck, I want to learn how to fight like that." So that was what influenced me in starting training. The only other guys I really knew around that time was like your John Jones and Anderson Silva, and that was purely from playing the UFC 3 Undefeated game on the PlayStation. So
yeah.
um, yeah, he was obviously a big influence in me starting. So his style probably rubbed off like on me early days. But me having that karate background was natural. Um, and yeah,
What got you into karate? Was it like was your like family karate practitioners, or did you just want to do it as a kid, or was there any reason you
I
got
think
into karate?
I think I just wanted to be a ninja when I was a kid, and so my parents put me in karate when I was 5. Um, and yeah, I picked it up pretty quickly and was doing pretty well as a young kid. I competed all around Australia. I won Australian titles. Um, and I don't know, I was just consistent with it, and so I was training like 3 hours a night every night, pretty much after school when I was doing karate because I was competing um, nationally and interstate and that sort of thing. So um, yeah, just been something that I really enjoyed and I just had a natural taking to, I guess, was martial arts. Um, and yeah, there was I think just my parents put me in when I was younger. So
Yeah, nah, I think that's what a lot of us do to get into martial arts. For me, it was just I'd seen a bunch of videos of like them street fight compilations and stuff like that, and I seen people like throwing kicks and all this shit. And I was like, fuck, I need to get into that as a kid. So I started doing martial arts.
yeah,
Except I don't know, for some reason I wanted to be doing all that stuff, but I got into jujitsu and wrestling, so I did it the whole wrong fucking way that I wanted to do it.
but
But
oh, well, that's also. Sometimes I wish that I did jujitsu. Like, if you could get to 10, 11 year old and been doing jujitsu for 5 to 6 years, you got such a head start on the game. Like with karate, obviously it's good for a base, but there's only so much you can take out of it. I feel like for me, the biggest things I've taken from it is just like my timing and my distance management because I did that point style of karate. Um,
yeah,
and kicks and things. But yeah, like jujitsu obviously relates directly over to MMA, so I feel like that would definitely be a good base.
yeah. But at the end of the day, you see a lot of these like I guess you call them one-dimensional type jujitsu guys who come over and they just don't really do much anymore. I feel like not that jujitsu's regressed or anything like that, but I feel like jujitsu is like its own individual martial arts, like one of the weaker parts of your game at this point. You got like Justin Gaethje who says that he doesn't even train jujitsu on bottom and stuff like that now. So it's like I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like with the evolution of MMA, like jujitsu's like falling to the bottom of the ladder. I'm sure somebody will come up and he'll rise back up. You got Charles Oliveira, but there's something to notice.
yeah, there's for sure it has to be like MMA specific jujitsu now. Like there's a
Yeah,
lot of stuff that you're not going to bother using because obviously when strikes are involved, it's a lot different. Like for example, I've never put a gi on in my life for jujitsu, um, and all our stuff is MMA related. So
yeah,
yeah, I feel like you're right in terms of going away from that because I feel like MMA is just about becoming a martial art of its own. I feel like as the games at the start of the UFC, it was more like style versus style, but now it's you have to be good at everything. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I agree with you on that no gi shit. I used to hate wearing the gi as a kid. Like, I don't know, the gi is just. I always think like, what does it matter if you're wearing a gi? You're not going to go into, if you're in a self defense situation, you're not going to say, "Hey, can you please put this gi on so I can choke you with the gi?" It's like I don't know. I feel like no gi is just so much better. It's more realistic in like a life
yeah,
situation.
yeah, I can understand it for just like a sport or competition perspective, but yeah, in terms of MMA and more realistic stuff, I think no gi is definitely more important.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing a video of like Jorge Masvidal where he says he's never trained in a gi because it's so much better to just not train with it because you get used to it. Because if you're wearing a gi, you're gonna feel a lot slower. You're gonna be a lot, you're wearing a lot of weight around you with the gi and everything. So it's much better for like a MMA situation when you're not wearing a gi.
Yeah, like it's a completely different style. You've got grips and things to grab onto that you're not going to have in MMA, and it's going to be slippery and that sort of thing. So yeah, I can understand people not training in a gi because I've never done it. So
So because you don't train in a gi, do you have like any jujitsu belts? Because do they grade you because you do no gi or?
yeah, so we still get graded at our gym. Our coach is pretty good with like not handing out belts, so you really have to earn it. I'm a purple belt, uh, so I've been doing jiu-jitsu for since I was 18, so 6 years now. And yeah, I still do jiu-jitsu comps, just no gi. But yeah, we just never put the gi on, and so we just wear the coloured rashies.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to mention the whole jiu-jitsu and like your grappling as well, because obviously your last fight against Nam Stevens, a lot of that fight was on the feet, but you did utilize, your takedowns and stuff like that. So I was going to ask, like, how long have you been wrestling for?
Yeah. So when I first started MMA, I was a bit, I was just doing it for fun. Like from 16 to 18, I sort of just wanted to do striking, like, do a bit of kickboxing. Then it wasn't until, I did do a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but not a lot. And then it wasn't until I was 18 where I started taking training seriously, and that's pretty much when I started grappling. And obviously, having a striking background, all my fights have been really early on, especially like guys just trying to take me down. So we worked so much grappling in the last. We probably grapple more than we do strike at Infinite. Yeah, so I feel like my grappling's come a long way, and I'm very confident in my grappling.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, your grappling looked pretty good against Nam because Nam gets most people down with his takedowns, and I think he got you down for a second, but your get-ups were so good you just jumped right back up, so I couldn't do anything with
Yeah,
it.
he did take me down. It was I didn't expect him to shoot like that so quickly at the start of the second round, but yeah, like you said, I was straight back up and reversed it, so it was a good result.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best thing though for like a striker like you is to get all that experience on the regional scene with people just shooting on you because then by the time you get to like the UFC you'll be so prepared for it, like your striking will be so used to the takedown for it.
Yeah, like if you watch, if I'm not sure if you've watched amateur fights or not, but most of them were like wrestling matches, like because that small
Yeah,
demolition cage as well. It's easy to get pushed up against the fence, and I spent a lot of time grappling in those fights and had a few finishes on the ground as well. So it's not like, I haven't experienced fighting grapplers before.
yeah. No, I think I've watched all your fights. I had to go to Facebook to find them because it was hard to
Yeah.
find your demolition fights. But yeah, I watched all of them on Facebook. Yeah, some violent finishes though, like some real violent ones. I love the. I forgot who it was against, but you body kicked someone and they just fucking dropped. That was
Oh,
probably my
yeah.
favorite one.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite ones too. I heard him with a knee
Yeah,
just moments before that, and then yeah, just ripped that body kick in and dropped him. So it was nice.
yeah. No, I feel like the body attacks are so underutilized. Like obviously we're seeing it now with like Jack Della Maddalena, who's going in there and just using body attacks to get victories. Like it's so underutilized in MMA. So I love to see somebody, especially younger fighters, using it because I don't know. You see a lot of headhunters who if they threw one punch to the body, they would open up this, they'd open it up top, but they just don't do that. So it's like, why go headhunting? I don't know. I like that you diversify your game, going everywhere.
Yeah, you have to mix it up. I guess it makes it, it gives the opponent different looks, and if you're just always headhunting, it's easier to get reads on you. So
Yeah, absolutely. With the karate background and everything, do you take any influence, like seeing an Australian fighter like Robert Whitaker, who was middleweight champion with a karate background? Do you look up to him by just similar styles or anything like that?
yeah, like Rob, like guys like Wonder Boy, like all those sort of guys that have been successful in the UFC and MMA, with their karate styles. It's even though Connor didn't do karate, but he had a like karate style. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, I think it's definitely a tricky style and a cool looking style to have. And obviously Rob, he's had a lot of success and has some really good techniques, even like GSP as well.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So yeah, all those guys inspire me obviously as well.
Yeah, I was going to say I've seen a lot of people from I think they're probably from Ballarat when that story came out that Hex posted of you. Like all of them were like Aussie GSP and all this stuff, like calling you the Aussie GSP and everything. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what my
Yeah,
coach says. Aussie GSP with
yeah,
KO power.
yeah. No, well, I mean, early on it's looking like it. You're getting the takedowns now. You're mixing in the grappling. Your last fight, like who knows? Maybe you're going to come out in the UFC and you're just going to be a D1 wrestler for all we know. You're changing your style up.
Well, that's the goal, bro. To be well versed in every facet of martial arts. So, I'm always trying to round out my game and not just be a striker. Obviously, I love to strike, but yeah, I
Yeah.
want to be able to do everything and be the best at everything.
Yeah, and with that being said, how do you see your fight with Abdallah Baeta going? You're gonna, obviously not giving away the game plan, but are you looking for a submission, or are you looking for a knockout in this fight, or just see where the fight goes?
Yeah, I'm always looking for a finish, but I'll definitely be ready for war with Abdallah. You know, he's no slouch. He's a tough guy, got great cardio. I don't underestimate his grappling or his striking. I think he's good everywhere, and you don't get to 9-1 as a pro being shit anywhere. So I'll be ready for wherever the fight goes, but I'll always be looking for a highlight reel finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you say, he's got. That's one thing I've noticed about his game. He's like he can be down like against Campo. Is it Kembo? Kakembo. That's it. Against
Yeah,
Kakembo, he was like down like 2 rounds, and then just came out of nowhere, and he was stronger in the fifth than he was, those first 2 rounds. So he's definitely,
yeah,
he's a tough bastard. Let's just say that. Comes back from
yeah.
adversity.
He's definitely got. He said in an interview he's got that dog in him. So you know, I like to. I'd like to show that I got that dog in me too, and if it goes 5 rounds, I'll be happy to get that experience as well. But yeah, like I said, I'll be looking for a finish, of course.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'll prepare for the if you make it to the UFC, which I think you will. It'll prepare you for the Australian Slayer himself, Jarlin Turner, who loves to beat up on all the Aussies and Kiwis. So you're prepared for that fight in the future as well.
Yeah, that's true. Just preparing for a 6'3" guy.
Yeah, I don't know. He seems to have a thing for all the Aussie lightweights, so it's good for you to
Yeah,
get
I
this
have noticed
preparation.
that. Yeah,
Like I think he's 5-1 against Australians and New Zealanders. Is like I don't know. They just seem to match him against all the Aussies. I don't know what it. I don't know what it is with him. Maybe he just
yeah.
personally hates someone. Coincidence.
I know it seems that way. He's taken out a few of them. So, but Dan Hooker did well, and we'll claim Dan as an Aussie as
Yeah.
well, like people do on Facebook.
Yeah, I always see on Facebook like the people on like MMA Facebook of like every Volk post is like, "Oh, my favorite Kiwis fighting this
Like,
weekend," or if it's
yeah,
Izzy, "Oh, my favorite," like
yeah. I love
it's
those
funny.
comments. They're fucking hilarious.
It's like the if you ever watch one of like the ceremonial weigh-ins, every comment's Rip Joe Rogan.
Yeah, true. He doesn't do that anymore, does he?
So he does like pay-per-views if they're not in another country. He only does American shows, only American pay-per-views.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I was going to also ask because obviously two Australians are fighting this week, and I wanted to get your predictions for this weekend's UFC card, just for the main event co-main.
Obviously, I'm back in Volk, and I think there's a lot of people saying he's too old and that sort of thing. But I think he's just going to prove everyone wrong once again. Like you can't really look past him. Just the resume he's got at 45, and him with a full camp, I just think he's just another animal. So, and like he said, he was drinking every day and not preparing for that last Islam fight. He just took a big risk, and it didn't work out for him. But yeah, obviously Ilya is a legit prospect as well. He
Yeah.
was really dangerous, but yeah, I'm excited for the fight though. It's gonna be a sick fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Ilya's got that weird aura about him. Like, I don't think, like, he's trying to act
Yeah,
like Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo. Like, he's got that aura about him, but I don't know. I feel like I feel like it's going to fuck him over because obviously he's talking all this trash. If he loses, he's going to look like such a dickhead. Best way I can
yeah. Well,
put it.
that's the thing. Yeah, he's got really nice boxing. I love watching his boxing.
Yeah, yeah, same. I love watching him fight so much. Like, but he's just a bit of a cockhead at times, especially to Volk. Like, I don't know. It's out of all the fighters you're going to trash talk, why Volk? But I guess I
Yeah,
understand it. If he's going to be a massive star.
for sure. Like I'll go back to being a fan of Ilya after Volk beats him.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then who are you going for Whitaker versus Paulo Costa if it happens? If Paulo makes it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You never know with Paulo. So, um, but that's a good fight as well. I think Rob will be too good, but it just sort of depends. Like I always thought, like I said that Rob was going to destroy Duplessis, but he's just got such an awkward style. I don't think that was anything on Rob. I think that was more just because I always thought that he didn't look good, but he just somehow makes it work for him. Um, and hopefully Rob bounces back and gets a win.
The way I describe Dricus Duplessis' style is he just chads his way to victory. He doesn't have any, like, he's not great technically. He just fucking chads his way. Like, all he does, he runs forward, spamming you with pressure, and it just fucking works for him in the middleweight division. So
Yeah. Well, it's like sometimes you have. I'm not saying he's a beginner or anything, but like sometimes when you're sparring with beginner guys, you might have a harder time than say if you're going with someone who's doing things technically correct because it's just awkward. And I think he's sort of like mastered that awkward style where he can look maybe not the best technically, but it works for him. So he might be hard to deal with just because it's such an awkward style.
yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be. I mean, I'm not a fighter, but like, if I was in there, I wouldn't know how to fucking predict what he's doing because like he's running with his mouth open, swinging big hooks, but he's just always in your face. You think
Yeah,
he's
and he's such a
tired, but he's
he's just such a big dude as well. It's like he's got power. So yeah, I'm wondering. I'm interested to see who they'll match him up with if it'll be easy for the title or who they'll do next for that middleweight title.
yeah. I'm thinking from what I've heard, they're planning on doing him versus Izzy, but there's also Hamzat waiting in the wings, so it's like I don't know what
Mm.
they're gonna do. Like Hamzat's in a weird place where they were trying to book him versus Leon, but I don't think he could make welterweight at this point. So I don't know what the
Yeah, well,
fuck's
that's
going
what
on
I
there.
heard as well, and I think he should stick at middleweight. Like he's a big guy. He's obviously struggled to make
Yeah,
welterweight last time, so um, yeah, it'll just be interesting to see what they do next.
yeah, especially because I'm pretty sure he bulked up a shit ton as well, like before that Usman fight. So it'd be a bit weird for him to like cut all the way back down and try and kill himself. You know?
What wasn't he sick? I saw something that he was sick.
Yeah, he posted some stuff where it looked like he had like I don't even know. He had all these scars on him. He had mumps. It looked like he had the mumps. Like he looked like he
Yeah,
fucking I don't know. It looked like he got hexed or something. Like he looked cursed because it looked like he had every fucking illness under the sun.
yeah. I didn't know when that was from. Like, was that before he fought Usman, or was that recent?
After I think recently,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know what
Well.
the fuck he's
Yeah.
been doing.
There's a Who else is on the card this weekend? It's pretty stacked, isn't it?
Oh, Ian Gary versus Jeff Neal's on there as well.
Yep. Yeah, that should be a good fight. Who else?
Yeah, a lot of people rooting for the downfall of Ian Gary.
Yeah, for sure. You can sort of see why. Yeah, I don't really
Yeah,
know how to feel about it. Like, I don't not like him or like him. I'm sort of feeling neutral, but um, yeah, I think some of the stuff is just a bit cringe. But yeah, is what it is.
yeah. I didn't like him like painting Neil Magny as like a child abuser. I didn't like that. I thought that was pretty fucked up of him. That was pretty weird.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and Marab versus Henry, that's on there as well, which was a good fight.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because Cejudo said he's going to retire if he loses. So I'm sort of hoping he wins, but I don't know. Marab's such a fucking difficult. Like, just he's like Dricus if Dricus didn't have power. He's just pressuring forward the whole time. He doesn't get fucking tired. He has like 10 lungs.
Yeah, I heard someone say he's got cardio, like retard cardio. I'm like, that's a good way to that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that is the best way to put it. Like, I don't know. There's something to be had with that retard pressure though. Like, they're just constantly in your face. If they don't fucking go away, you're just gonna gas out. Like, it is
Yeah,
underrated.
for sure. Like that's such a difficult style to deal with. Yeah, he's someone who doesn't slow down. He's just constantly shooting, even though if he's not taking you down like against Piotr Jan, but just constant like pressure. It's definitely a hard style to deal with. Sometimes, obviously, not the most entertaining to watch, but yeah,
Yeah, it's only entertaining to watch Marab if he's like getting beat and then he comes back. Like against Marlon Moraes, he got like knocked down like
yeah,
twice, KO'd, and then just comes back like that. It's cool when he fights someone like that, but there's not many people like Moraes in the bantamweight division, especially like that version of Moraes.
yeah, exactly. But it's definitely an interesting fight because Henry's obviously got great wrestling too. So yeah, it'll be good to see how that one goes.
Yeah, nah, exactly. I'm thinking Marab's probably going to get it done though. But I don't know. I feel like stylistically, Cejudo does match up well with him just because he's so much shorter than anyone Marab's fought. So it's going to be a lot harder to get on to Marab, get on to
Yeah,
Cejudo. Like he's not going to be able to shoot down as low and everything like that. But then again, he'll probably just clinch his way to victory like he did against Jose Aldo.
Yeah, I think if I had to put money on it, I'd probably pick Marab.
Yeah, and I think I seen you're a big Sean O'Malley fan, right?
Yeah, I love the Sugar Show.
Yeah,
I started following him when he just got onto the Contender Series, and he's another guy that has that awesome like sick striking style that I
yeah,
like to watch. So um, yeah, I was pumped when he won the title against Aljo.
yeah. Same. I predicted that too, and I had so many people in the comments saying you're a clown. Why would you pick O'Malley? And then I came back. I was like, who's the fucking clown now, bitch? Like,
Yeah, I wasn't sure how it was gonna go. I feel like Aljo's a tough stylistic matchup for O'Malley, but obviously, yeah, he's just such a sniper. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, it was sick.
How would how you got like Sean O'Malley's like next few fights going? Like, how do you think he's gonna do against Cheeto in the rematch?
I think he matches up well with Cheeto just because he's got that sort of like orthodox sort of style, and he just sort of walks forward. I think O'Malley will get it done, even though he lost the first one. But I think that was sort of like a
Yeah,
freak accident with his foot. Um, but then he really wants Ilya to win so he can go up and fight for the 145 title, but he doesn't want to fight Volk. So
yeah.
um, yeah, it'd be cool if he could go fight Ilya, but yeah, I think he should maybe steer clear of Marab. I think that's a tough matchup for him, but I'd
Yeah,
love to fight him. I'd love to see him fight Sandhagen as well. That's a good matchup.
yeah. I'd love that Sandhagen fight as well. Like Sandhagen's also one
Yeah,
of those guys when he's not like. I mean, lately his last two fights, he's just been grapple fucking people. But when like Corey Sandhagen's striking, man, it's so beautiful to watch. Like it's like art in motion. Like especially that
yeah,
KO on Frankie Edgar is like that's one of the most brutal bantamweight KOs of all time.
yeah. Oh, that was insane. I feel like O'Malley's a bit more like athletic and explosive, but I feel like they'd have such a. Oh, I feel like Corey would probably grapple in that fight, but
Yeah, that's what I think.
yeah, yeah.
Which,
It'd be a sick fight
but
though. Like they match up pretty identical in terms of like attributes, height and reach. So yeah, it'd be sick.
yeah, but Sean O'Malley's takedown defense did look pretty good against Aljo. You know, he didn't shoot too much, but it would at least make me a bit confident he could keep it standing against like a Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah, and
But
like he always
Marab
says as
is
well, like he's um he's been preparing for guys to take him down his whole career. So like that's pretty much his bread and butter at this stage.
yeah. I mean, yeah, you'd hope it was, especially when you got Umar Nurmagomedov coming up, you got Marab Dvalishvili coming
Yeah,
for you, you got Cejudo maybe. It's like all these fucking little short, stocky wrestler cunts coming for you.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see how he does against Cheeto Vera. I'm excited for that card in general. Like I feel like UFC 299, like on paper, looks so much better than 300 at the moment.
Yeah, that one's stacked.
Like
They've got there's another fight that MVP versus Kevin Holland
Holland,
and
yeah, JDM versus
what's
Burns,
yeah JDM versus Burns.
Poirier
That's a
versus
sick
Benoit
fight.
Saint Denis.
Yeah, another good fight.
Yeah,
Which I'm surprised that Poirier's the underdog, but um, that's a
yeah,
good
me
fight
too on
though.
that as well. I'm surprised.
I
Yeah, I
just
feel
think
like
that what's his name? Benoit Saint Denis. I feel like he's obviously really good, but just unproven against the top
yeah,
ranked guys at this stage. Uh, whereas Dustin's fought everybody, and even though he got knocked out against Justin, it's like that's Justin Gaethje. So, um,
yeah.
yeah, I don't really feel like he should be an underdog, but
Yeah, I agree on that. I'm picking Dustin to win. I like Benoit Saint Denis. I'm rooting for Benoit Saint Denis because I just love watching him fight. Like he's another guy who just chats his way to victory, like Dricus Du Plessis. Like he's got that retard pressure. But I don't know.
yeah,
I see Dustin boxing him up because he is very hittable. And Dustin, he comes on strong in those later rounds. Like I feel like a 5 rounder really benefits him.
yeah. I actually haven't watched too much of Benoit, but I saw his last fight against was it Frivola?
Yeah, Matt
But that's it.
Favola.
That's the only one that I've actually watched.
Yeah. Do you like watch those like lightweight fights and you think, fuck man, that like in a few years' time that could be me squaring off with these guys? Like
It's only sort of been in the last like probably 6 to 12 months when I've actually gone pro that I've started looking at that from that perspective. Like I've always just watched the UFC as a fan, um, and then some now that I'm getting like closer myself, it's like you sort of start watching them thinking, how do I go against these sort of guys? But obviously, like your Dustins and that's so far away at this stage, and they're the best in the world. But sometimes I watch like the lower ranked lightweights and think, I wonder how I'd go against these guys. It's sort of hard to tell watching them on TV, but because everyone looks great on TV.
Yeah. Well, did you watch the fight last weekend with Michael Johnson and that Darius Flowers guy? Like that Darius Flowers guy is like one of the worst lightweights I've ever seen, man. Like I don't want to
That
disrespect
that's
good on him for getting
exactly
to
the
the UFC.
that's exactly the fight that I was watching, thinking, I reckon I could beat that guy. That's how I was thinking when I was watching that fight.
Yeah. I was literally watching and I was like, fuck, man. I reckon there's a couple guys on the Australian scene that could fucking beat this guy. Like, he's 12-7. He's 1-10 as a boxer. It's like, this guy's not that good, man. Like, how the
Yeah,
fuck's
I feel like
that guy was an American? He wouldn't be in the UFC.
nah. I feel like the level in Australia though is really high. Like you see the guys that get signed and they generally do pretty well once they get into the UFC.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at fucking Steve Erceg got
Like Steve
ranked in his
Erceg.
first fight. JDM's ranked now. I mean, Volk's obviously champion and everything, but he's like older generation. Like, Erceg and JDM are the more of the newer, eternal generation, if you want to say, like eternal hex generation guys.
Yeah, exactly. Jack Jenkins just only lost his
Yeah,
last fight because of the injury, but like he went on a bit of a tear as well. So you see these eternal champions and that getting on there and just like taking over. So it's good to see.
yeah, and you and Jack, you two are like mates, aren't you? I remember because he's spoken very highly about you in quite a few videos. I've watched a few interviews.
Yeah, we sort of grew up in the same area, so I've known Jack for a fair few years now, and we did some training together over COVID, because we were close, like within the bubble range. So he had the mat set up in his garage, and with Jacob Prosser as well, one of my other mates who trains at Absolute. Yeah, we were just training every night in his garage, and it was sick. So yeah, good mate to Jack. So
Yeah, no, Jack Jenkins is the man. Yeah, definitely a good bloke. He actually got me tickets to UFC 284, so I'm always grateful for Jack Jenkins.
and you actually got him the win on his contender fight, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I went researching the internet for it. Found his cut against his opponent's cut and everything. I had to translate everything to Spanish as well.
Yeah, that was so funny that the story post fight that he did. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I got so many messages from people. Like people were claiming to be me. It was so fucking funny. Like people saying you're not the real Ben P. I am. I was like, no, I'm literally Ben P.
I'm that guy, bro.
Yeah, it's like I actually had to respond to some guy on TikTok with a photo of me and Jack Jenkins saying, "No, that's literally me. I'm not lying." Like it's so weird to
Yeah,
see people impersonating you.
that was why I came on here. I was hoping you'd give me some sort of tactical advice that would get me the W.
Nah, I'll do that off the recording, off the record. I'll give you
Yeah,
some advice.
yeah, off the record. Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, can't give away the game plan. Not
True,
if he's. Abdallah might watch this. Can't have him knowing what the game plan
true,
is.
true. That's true.
Yeah, but nah, that's awesome though. Especially that you've seen that story. I've had a few fighters like I'll message them and they'll say, "Oh, I've heard about your success with Jenkins." I was like, oh, "Fuck, that's fucking awesome!" Like all these fighters have just like heard about it. It's like that. It's I don't know. It's crazy to me because I'm just a fan at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, that clip went pretty viral, so it would have been pretty cool to get a bit of a spotlight yourself.
Yeah, well, the UFC actually interviewed me as well. They did like an article
Oh,
on it
really?
as well, which was pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's dope.
like I woke up in the middle of the night once, and I had just literally had a message from I think her name's Mackenzie, something like that, from the UFC, and it was like, Benny P, do you want to do an interview talking about your friendship with Jack or something like that? I was like, yeah, fucking, of course, I want to do that.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, I'll put a good word in for you when you beat Abdallah.
I appreciate it, bro. Cheers. You're the inside man.
Yeah, exactly. I'll get you in, but no, I reckon if you get a few more wins this year, Dana White Contender Series is probably an option because I think I've read and heard that Dana White Contender Series is starting in like September, October this year, so it's a bit of a later season this year. So you get 2 big wins, maybe 3 big wins if you can in that time period. I reckon you'd be on the radar for sure, especially if you beat Abdallah.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's definitely a possibility. Like, get a couple couple more finishes, and I feel like I'd be on their radar. And yeah, for sure, it's a possibility September.
Yeah. And are you sticking like when you do get to the UFC? Are you going to be one like are you sticking at lightweight? It's like that your division moving forward, like because I think you did fight at featherweight as an amateur, right?
Yeah, I fought at feather once. At this stage, I would say yes. I stay at lightweight.
Yeah, yeah. Like, do
Yeah.
you cut much weight, or you like you walk around
Um,
weight, or
I'd see. I don't. I generally try not to get too heavy in between fights, so I don't blow out and cut a whole lot of weight in terms of like dieting down. I'd say I cut like a moderate amount of weight. I don't do a huge weight cut, um, which I think is good. Like when I went to featherweight, I actually felt like shit. Um, I feel like I could make it if I wanted to, but yeah, like I said, I didn't feel great when I did it. So yeah, if anything changes and I feel like I have to go down, then maybe that's something I'll look at. Like I work with Lauren from the Fight Dietitian, so um, yeah, I have thought about it, but at this stage, I think I'll just be staying at lightweight. I think all my performances at lightweight have been good, and I haven't had any problems like size or strength wise at this stage. So yeah, and I feel like that's like where I perform optimally at this stage.
yeah, no, definitely. Looking at your performances, like if you're not, outsized or anything like that, there's no point moving down. Like you see a lot of these guys, they move down and it doesn't benefit them at all. So I feel like you're doing the right thing. But like welterweight's not an option or anything like that. You lightweight's definitely your division.
Yeah, unless for some reason I just get huge and keep filling out, but I doubt it. Like I'll probably be sticking to lightweight.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe if you ever get real big, maybe you can fight Paddy Pimblett out of camp or something like that.
Yeah, we do like a light heavyweight fight with Paddy.
Yeah, yeah, it's fucking insane with that guy. There's like two Paddy Pimblets. It's like Paddy Pimblett in shape, and then there's Paddy Piglet, where he's like fucking 93 kilos out of camp.
Yeah, sometimes I kind of feel bad for him, like how much he gets flamed in his comments, but like like let the guy enjoy himself. But he definitely like enjoyed himself.
Yeah, I feel like he enjoys himself a little bit too much. Like I don't know. Eventually, because like he used to be a bantamweight when he started like his career, so obviously he couldn't make bantamweight anymore. Then he can't make featherweight anymore. If he keeps like ballooning up and cutting back down, eventually he's gonna have to move to like welterweight, and that's where I think he might actually fucking die.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not good for your body to do what he does, but yeah, each their own.
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like I've probably taken up a bit too much of your time here. So is like anyone you want to shout out, any sponsors, anything like that before we go?
Yeah, I'll just give all my sponsors a shout out: DJB Plumbing, Gas, Kings Crown Barbershop, Cafe Lecker, Infinite MMA, Clean Eats Australia, the Fight Dietitian, and Synchronistic Health. I think Synchronistic. We'll just go with Synchronistic. And CMBT. So yeah, shout out to those guys, and yeah, thanks for having me on, Benny. It was cool to
Yeah,
talk to you, and
appreciate it.
yeah, I'm sure we'll chat again soon.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Second interview, so I appreciate that. Like they say, first the best, second. I think no. Do you remember in
Second,
high
the
school
better.
or primary school? Yeah, yeah, someone like
Wasn't
that.
it first the worst, second the best? That's it.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And then it's like the third one's the one with the hairy chest or some shit. I don't know. Primary school was so
Yeah,
fun. It's some weird shit
yeah,
like that. But no, I
yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, we'll
Oh,
definitely talk. But
yeah.
good luck for
No worries,
your.
man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, cheers.